Hi, friends. Starting off this episode a little bit different, and you'll notice that this episode is going to be a different kind of episode because something very unexpected happened this week within our industry, and that was that we lost the incredible Edouard Jean. If you don't know who Edouard Jean was, I don't even think I have the right words to encompass the powerhouse that he was for the travel industry. This was a huge, sudden, big shock to all of us that knew him, even in a small capacity, like I did. I was first introduced to Ed as part of Host Agency Review's Host Week last year. And because he was so inspiring on that, I invited him to be a speaker at the Ascending in Your Travel Business audio series that went live last August. And his episode is still like one of my favorites because he just had this very warm and enthusiastic and also let's get down and dirty. Let's get down in the trenches and get the bleep done to make our travel businesses successful, and was just so transparent in doing so. He was just a ray of light. I just cannot say that many great things. I wish I could say even more, but I'm also still at a loss for his loss, not only for the travel industry, in particularly, especially for us who are in the minority community of the travel industry. He was such a proponent for diversity, equity, inclusion, positive change within this industry. He sat on the board for a lot of amazing organizations, specifically we're talking about DEI. He was on the board of ABTP, the Association of Black Travel Professionals. I know he was also a board member of, I believe it was the tourism boards for Antigua and Barbuda. And I know he sat on lots of different, he was a huge proponent for ASTA, and he was a former chapter president. He's been awarded by ASTA. I'm not sure what the awards are, but not only was he just a stellar, gentle giant and just really great person that you love to know and be around, he would daily and sometimes multiple times a day post little gems of wisdom on his Facebook page. And I think for me, that's one of the hardest things right now is some of the past gems that he posted that maybe I hadn't seen kind of floating on my feed are coming up on my feed now. And it almost feels like a warm hug from him, knowing that he's not with us physically, but that he's still with us spiritually, and really just wanting to hone in on that, because I'm sure for many of us he'd be like, don't be crying, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. This may be a sad day, but there's lots of really great days to come. I think this has also been really hard because around this time last year, we lost another incredible minority man within the travel industry, Will Medina. And so it is a weird, very weird anniversary-ish that I don't ever want to have to celebrate again. Um, Having to deal with like two losses around the same time within the travel industry. But they were both just vibrant souls, vibrant energies that were so needed in this industry. And I know that Ed was planning to run again this year on the ASTA board. He should have gotten the position when he ran. I believe he ran for the first time last year or the year before. I can't remember now. But he just did things differently and thought differently and was a real champion for the travel advisor community. That I'm going to echo a sentiment from Danielle of absolutely Cuba, that if you're not currently a member of ASTA, or even if you are a member of ASTA, so if you're not currently a member of ASTA, make sure to join or put in your renewal in honor of Ed's memory. If you are a member of ASTA, possibly even making a donation to ASTA PAC in Ed's memory. At the time that I'm recording this, I'm not sure if ASTA will be doing anything. I'm sure something will be coming down the pipeline. I just think a lot of us, this has completely like thrown us for a loop. So obviously, like, this is not anything that you can really prepare for. So I think there's a lot of people still thinking about things. And I thought it was only right and only fitting that I share his episode with you today from the Ascending in Your Travel Business Audio Summit. I don't normally share these episodes unless you're registered for that summit or for whichever summit it is. But I think this is the best way that at least I can do to pay tribute to such an incredible man that had such a positive impact for me and so many other people. And so there are a couple things that I do have to promo, but I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. If you're interested in kind of what's going on in my world, just please check out the show notes for all the events and different bonuses that might be happening this week, because I really want to keep the focus on Ed and the path that he paved and the path that I'm sure his legacy will continue to pave within the travel industry and uplifting our industry and just making us even better. And so I would love to share his wisdom with you, and I hope you enjoy these little pearls that he's about to drop. And if you've already listened to this episode, hope that it feels like it's coming home to you. So without further ado, let's get into that. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for being here on the Ascending in Your Travel Business audio series. I have another amazing speaker up for you. His name is Edouard Jean, and he has done a lot, not only within his business, but within the industry. He sits on many advisory boards, and I don't want to give too much away because I want him to talk about a lot of these things, because I feel like they are very great visibility opportunities. And that's an area that's not widely talked a lot about in the industry, is being visible and having your face, your name, your business shown. And not just within the industry. I mean, for your own business, in your own network, people need to know you in order to do business with you, because that's how you do business. That's how you get business. So without further ado, welcome Edouard to the podcast series.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited and nervous at the same time.
Yeah, and that's where we're gonna see where this all goes. But let's start with something that you know. How did you get into the industry? Give us a little bit of your background.
Oh wow. Long story short, in my previous life, I was a stockbroker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, while I was a stockbroker before 9/11, I was that company guy, that corporate guy coming early, leave late, week.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, I had never taken a vacation as an adult. At that,
What?
I was it was I was so into work. It wasn't something that was in my radar. And then 9/11 happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I afterwards I had to do a little reflection and realize I was here living to work. I wasn't working to live.
Right.
So as soon as they let the planes back up, I took my first vacation, international vacation as an adult, and my first place was Jamaica.
Okay.
And just a little funny bit, I was so green to it that I didn't even know what all inclusive was. I'm at the resort saying, wait a minute, I can eat and drink anything I want.
Right.
Not going to be any charge at checkout.
Right.
And I was, and that to me, I was like, wow, I'm really out of this fish out of water type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But on a more serious note, I saw people in certain positions that I wasn't used to seeing.
Ooh.
So I really eyes open, open your brain, and like, wow, this is something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I came back. My friends and colleagues asked me how my vacation was. I said, listen, I can't really explain it, but I'm going back next year, and you're free to come with me. So 12 of us went the following year.
Okay.
They came back and told friends, and word of mouth. I was in a couple of years, I was bringing down over 250 people to Jamaica every year. They were started. I love hearing the stories how people met on my trip, so it just gave me more fuel to keep going. I
Mm-hmm.
had two couples that met on my trip that are now married, have kids. One of the husbands, every time I talk to him, he's like, "This is your fault. I got these babies here." So, and then they were saying, you should be a travel advisor or a travel agent.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? This is a passion I found. It's a hobby I found. I'm a stockbroker. I'm doing well. This is something I just love to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then 2005 came and my firm started talking to another firm and they let us know within the year these positions are going to be eliminated. And that's when I said, maybe I should look into what's going on with this travel industry.
Right.
Um, March of '06, I got laid off. April of '06, I opened up my agency. Never
Wow.
looked.
So were you taking like over 250 people before you became a full-fledged agent?
Yeah, I didn't become an agent until I left.
No
So
way.
I had a travel agent who was taking care of that for me. But I started doing like making the event what it was. So I was making, its own private check-in at the time. Swag bags, t-shirts, water bottles. I had talked to the gift shop on property and said, hey, we negotiate 20% off anyone who came in the group. So I really started diving into making this an annual event.
Wow.
And then when I realized how much my travel agent was making off the group, I was like, hmm, I can do this myself.
Right. You've already done half of it, and half of the work there too.
Yeah.
All right. So diving into that, because I think like that is inspiring in itself that even before you became into the in or came into the industry that you were able to get that amount of people. How did that work? Your group of 16 turning into or 12 turning into over 250?
Like I said, it was word of mouth, no real advertising. Um, I promised you that it was just word of mouth, and then the experience that,
Yeah.
unbeknownst to me, I was giving to my guests.
Right.
Was I would go around every day and ask everyone how they were doing, making sure they saw me, making sure I connected with them. And I didn't realize that till someone else started doing similar trip at
Okay.
another resort. And some of my guests were like, we're going to try that one next year. I said, go ahead, have a good time. And they came back to me and said, you know what? We're coming back because they felt like the host just took their money and was not seen throughout the vacation. and you said you came to us every day, made sure we were good, talked to us, took time out, where the other person we hardly saw.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was the experience that people had with my trip, um, and then told others.
I love that. And I think that's a brilliant and super simple way to just go the extra mile because that doesn't take that. If you're already meandering around the resort, it doesn't take extra to be like, hey, how are you
Yeah,
doing? Is everything
yeah.
going well?
And I think also, again, unbeknownst to me, because my mind is more business oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always, I always say this is saying, and people who know me know I say it. Travel advisors know they sell travel, but sometimes they forget they're running a business. So,
Yes.
in my head, if I touch these people while they're here and make them feel like I care and I'm glad they're here, I appreciate they're there, then not only are they coming back next year, but then when they want to do a solo trip or a family trip or whatever it may be, they're gonna come back to
Right. Right. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, the foundational elements of your business. Are you hosted, franchise? Are you completely on your own? Do you have a team? Tell us the nitty gritty about what Massive Travels is.
you. You got it. So a great question. My first year I was with a host,
Okay.
and then I realized I can do this on my own.
Okay.
So from that point on, I became independent.
Okay. With a
Um,
consortia or no consortia?
no consortia.
Wow.
At the time, I did not know the difference between a host and a consortia. I thought they were
Okay.
one and the same,
Right.
which is a common mistake.
Right.
I found out. So after, not after, but 2020 came along and
Hmm.
business halted. I decided to look at my business and change some things around. And one thing I decided to do is look for a consortium.
Okay.
I had some meetings. Um, and I decided on one. I'm not sure if I can say it, but um,
You say
it was
whatever you want.
it was with Ness,
Okay.
which is specialized in home base travel advisors, which I am. I've been home based since I started full time,
Okay.
um, and that was only I think I joined them fall of 2020,
Okay.
and I am seeing the benefits of it. I'll tell you, I closed my first sale because of them 2 weeks after joining them because of
Wow.
the exclusive um, amenities that they sometimes offer, depending on.
Okay.
So it helped me close a deal and paid for my membership. I think 3 times over.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. So, how did, I guess, your first couple years without a consortia, how were you doing that all on your own? Were you just making a lot of relationships independently with each of the suppliers you worked with?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
One thing. One con about being with a host is the host agency is getting the credit for your bookings,
Right.
and I just felt that I didn't think that was right. So that's one reason why I left. I just wanted to build my own relationships with
You
my
know,
BDNs.
I would like to dive in a little bit on that. Why didn't you think that was right? Because I I I am also one for like breaking down stigmas and like every business is individual.
Right.
So what was it about your business that really didn't fit a host agency model or how you wanted to do business?
I just wanted to build my business on my own merits, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I wanted to start nourish my relationships with the different BDMs or reps of different properties or suppliers.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's a lost art. Again, I think some travel agents don't know how to nourish, or that word networking gets in
Yes.
the way. And they don't know. Sometimes I call my supplier, my BDMs, and say, "Hey, no business. I just want to see how you're doing. What's going on? I
Love that.
remember your daughter was graduating. How did that go?" And I think doing that really sets me apart from some other travel
Hmm.
advisors. So that way, if something
Totally.
goes wrong, if I need something or request or anything, I'm not just calling on that. They know me. We build a relationship. So um, now, oh, I have an emergency. Can you help me out with this? Not to say they're not going to help everyone,
Right.
but um, I've known some reps who you know what, who call me on, hey, do you know this particular agent? I just got a call from this person. I don't really know who they are, but they're asking for XYZ. That shouldn't be. You should be nourishing your own relationships. And
Right.
I try and get that to my ICs, um, as well as my colleagues, and try to like bring that home. Like you need to nourish those relationships because this is a people. It's a human industry.
Totally. I love that you mentioned that because I don't think people or host agencies or consortia or the industry as a whole, there's no how to build relationships with people within the industry
Yeah,
101. No one
yeah,
really talks about that yes, if you're in trouble, you need to go to your BDM. But I love where you just mentioned the part of having like an actual human relationship and connection and talking about somebody's graduation and it just goes to show because I'm sure a lot of those relationships because you have nurtured them more than just the surface level have brought benefits to you
yeah,
outside of just the normal like 911 I need help.
for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
I've had destinations give me a unique opportunity. So let's say they're having something on the island.
Mhm.
One, two, twice I've been approached to be the exclusive travel agency in the U.S. to sell the packages for that destination for that event, based on me just going a little extra. I'm assuming based on me going a little extra on
Mhm.
my relationship, my networking.
That is incredible. And I feel, I and part of my mission and a little bit of what we were talking about earlier is that there are so many things that we're fed and we're being told to do X, Y, and Z. But again, nobody's talking about this relationship piece and how everything in your business really needs to start from relationships
Mm,
and everything else will kind of fall into line. Like once you have certain relationships with your clients and on the supplier end, client end, you'll know exactly who to market to, who to make
yep.
the sales to, what to be selling them on the supplier end, you'll know what to be offering and all those like hidden gems that people might not be able to figure out on their own.
And even on a like, so I had a colleague who forgot or lost her headphones
Mm-hmm.
at a destination,
Okay.
and what had a relationship with a BDM who was going to be at that destination. He offered to be like, yo, I'm going to be there. Give me a contact. I'll get those headphones for you. And next time we meet, I'll have them. That's a relationship.
Yes.
So even on that level, it's just, it works on all facets of business or personal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the word networking really, like I said, a lot of people are social.
Right.
They can talk to whoever, but then when you say, "Oh, you're networking," they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to network." Yeah, you do.
Yep. And it's simple. It's really making friends,
Yeah,
but in a different word.
yeah, yeah,
And how are you making friends that might buy from you eventually? And how are you making friends that just really like who you are and are like, hey, you need to work with this person because they're amazing at what they do?
yeah. For sure, for sure, for sure. And who was it? Was it Gary Sanders from Sandals one time? Came up for one of the Sandals events,
Mm-hmm.
dining, and he said something, and this is 2008, and it
Mm-hmm.
still resonates to me. What good is it if you have gold at half price if no one knows about it?
Right.
So that's for me is like marketing, 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 and indirectly building networking is part of network part of marketing.
Right.
So
Right. So what are the day to day or month to month, quarter to quarter items that you do to market your own business, especially at this
Oh, wow.
level?
You know what? I still do what they call guerrilla marketing.
Ooh.
So when I first started, um, I would go to like the salons
Uh-huh.
and the barber shops and give them at the time it was DVD. And say, hey, can we have an agreement for you to play this on your TV while people are waiting to get service? And then have my cards on your table or on your counter. So when they ask, hey, what's going on here? And then you can refer me to take care of that.
Brilliant.
Um, or I would go to, a pizzeria and say, hey, can I put my flyer on your boxes? I will sit here and put them on the flyer myself if you accept that, and then, leave it there for when you do deliveries. So
Wow.
stuff like that. And then I would also negotiate, like, sometimes, guys always get their haircuts the day before they go on vacation, ladies too. So
Mm-hmm.
I would ask the salon or barber shop, hey, can you put together some type of like service package, um, that I can extend to my clients who are looking for a place to get a haircut and send them to your business,
Mm-hmm.
and then give the the, the service at a discount. And same thing with the ladies. So that worked for a while too. And
Mm-hmm.
then even the pizzeria, can you put together a package? Who wants to cook the day before you leave? So can you put together some type of package where I would tell, hey, this pizzeria in your area is we have a deal with them to give you a package for a family of four at a discount if you don't feel
Uh-huh.
like cooking the day before you leave. So again, networking with these businesses, it's a win-win because they're getting new clients and I'm showing a discount, my value with them. So that's guerrilla marketing that I continue to do to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
I
love
have started doing what I started 2 years before COVID. I call it Ride and Sip, which is wine tasting tours um, from New York City to Long Island and
Okay.
then to upstate, where I would have a destination come and co sponsor. And then in return, they would do a presentation on that destination on the way to the wineries.
Love that.
I would give everyone hashtags and say, hey, take as many pictures as you want. Just use the hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, so we go out to the winery. So now the BDM has a captive audience for the day to answer any questions or whatever. And then I would be the point of sale when they want to go interested in really making a booking.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the trip on the way home, I would count whoever had the most likes, and then that person would win a raffle or prize from that destination.
That is
So it was
so
a
smart.
win-win-win for everyone, and that really went into where at a point I'm doing maybe 2 to 4 to 5 bookings
Okay.
for that destination for that from that trip from that ride and sip.
Okay. Who would you say kind of thinking about that and thinking about marketing tactics that work for certain audiences? Who is your ideal client? Who are the people that you're serving?
People who want value,
Okay.
which is different from people
Right.
who want the cheapest trip.
Right.
So people who want value, who see my value, um, and appreciate someone taking care of their arrangement from start to finish.
Right.
I'm a very hands-on person. So I also think that as a travel advisor, it's your job to think about answers to to problems before they come up.
Mm-hmm. Love
So,
that.
for example, I had a client, family of five, parents, and three girls, two twins. Um, and they wanted, a matter of fact, they went to Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
Uh, but I got their transfers from them. But unbeknownst to them, I made sure the transfer company had car seats. He didn't
Yes.
ask me. He didn't tell me. I just knew the age of the children. So I said, "Oh, let me see." And then he got there. He said, "How did you know I needed car seats? I forgot all about it. My job."
Right.
So the value, I showed him my value, and he's been applying for the last, just that simple gesture for the last 10 years.
Now, are these things that you have taken from your stockbroking life? Like, how have the two worlds kind of interconnected in any way?
Oh, you know, the only way I think they connected is I came into the business as um, from a business mindset
Hmm.
more than travel mindset. That makes sense. Uh,
Yes. Yeah. I want to dive
so
into that.
my thing was I need to make sure from a business standpoint that I stood out from everyone else.
Hmm.
Uh, they're coming to you for a reason. Just like any industry, your clients are coming to you for a reason, and you need to make sure that they came to the right place. So
Hmm.
whatever needs to be done, they need to feel, you know what? I'm glad, I came to you. You are addressing my concerns, and you're addressing concerns I didn't even know I had.
Hmm.
So from a business standpoint, I took that from my stockbroker days, when talking to clients, see what their needs are, see what they're looking for, and talking to them. I ask questions to some clients like I'm the CIA. It's not that I want to get into your
Yes.
business. I just want to make sure I'm vetting you for the
You
right
need to know.
destination, right property that coincides with why you're taking this trip and who you're going with.
Hmm. I love that so much because those are the little details. The more that you can get into somebody's brain, the more successful that you will be at planning exactly what it is that they're looking for.
Correct. This is why when I talk to new people who want to get into business, I have to find out why you get in this business. Does you really love the business? You really want to get into it?
Hmm.
Or you're just in it, and it's not a bad thing. You're in it just to make money and or get this kind of trips or free trips.
Right.
I feel that if you have a passion for this business and this is what you're in for, and everything else is more secondary, you're going to pay attention to detail.
Right.
Whereas if you're just doing this for money, or you think it's an easy place to make money, you're just going to book the trip. I had one IC who joined me, and he booked his first cruise, and he booked it. And I said, "Hey, did you contact the client to follow up to see if you had any questions? It's first cruise." Um, and he said no. I said, "Why not? If that, he could have booked it himself." And so he lost. After that, he lost the client, and then he realized, you know what? Maybe this is not the industry I want to be in.
Right.
Maybe not.
Right.
So it's all about. I had a client, not a client, a potential IC. We were at a industry event in AC, and this particular person saw me in the morning, and for whatever reason said, "Hey, I would love to work for your agency as an IC. I'm looking to make a change." Blah 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 blah. I said, "Oh, great. Here's my card." We exchanged cards, and then during dinner, the host of the event, which was an annual event, at that year said we're not having any raffles or prizes. And
Mm.
I heard from a distance this same person I saw in the morning said, "Well, this is what I came here for." And I took that business card and went and like, nope, I don't, no, I can't.
Right. There is a different level, especially when we're talking about really heading into that CEO level role. You have to be thinking on a bigger picture about bigger things. Little things like raffles don't mean anything to your business.
Nope. I mean, if even when I do win, sometimes I'm like, I've been here before. Is this something I got? Is it transferable? I give to one of my ICs or one of
Hmm.
my colleagues,
Right.
and I always make sure I give it to a colleague who's about their business, not someone
Hmm.
who just wants to go.
At like thinking in that CEO level so that people can get a better idea, the ones that are really wanting to make this a successful business, probably full-time career or just a really great part-time income. What are the day-to-day items that are on your mind in that CEO role that you are the founder, owner of a business that happens to be in travel?
Oh, and my day to day. Oh, I'm always thinking of what's next as far as marketing. What can I do that's different?
Okay.
Um, like anyone who knows me, I'm always like, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's one. Second, and I do this periodically. Like, sometimes you have potential clients that never come back to you,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always looking for feedback from the clients who just came back from vacation. And I said, why don't you call the one that didn't book with you to find out why?
Right.
So that way you can hone into your skills. And at the same time, that potential client is going to be like, I didn't even book with him. He came back to me to get my feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm, maybe I should look at him again.
Right.
So just different ways of doing things um, to enhance and bring more potential sales to your business.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that some Oh, go ahead.
no, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is that something that's always not always, but is that something that's at the forefront too? Like, are you looking at the data, the numbers? Are you forecasting things out?
Um, I can tell you the truth. When I first started, I did not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, it's important. Um, like I was just doing this morning, and I do it maybe on a monthly basis or bi-weekly basis where
Mm-hmm.
I look at my numbers comparing this year to last
Okay.
to see, okay, it helps me, okay, set a goal. So
Right.
last year, if I did X amount, what can I do to make it 10% or make it 25% more?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always looking at my sales numbers at that aspect. And so far this year, I've gone over month to month so far. So far, um,
Ooh, yay. What would you attribute that to?
oh, well, one, a lot of people are traveling,
Right.
a lot. So that's
COVID.
one. However, it's also about your workflow, what you have set up, and what makes it easy for the client to say, okay, this is simple. I can do this. I can do that. I can do that. So educating clients, showing that the destination that they want to go, showing
Mm-hmm.
that you have a relationship with certain resorts. Um, that helps because people are coming. Like I said, people come to you for a reason, and
Right.
the more they see that you know what you're talking about, the
Right.
more they're like, you know what, we're, we're staying right here. The
Yeah,
workflow,
just let's take it.
yeah, 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 for sure. And I've had clients who I've done, and the referrals is big. Clients who've loved my. I have presently a potential destination wedding client
Mm-hmm.
who went to a destination wedding. I think this has 6 years ago, and they had their expectations of working with a travel advisor, but they said, Ed, I have no idea that working with a travel advisor would be so much fun, so much positive vibe. Because the last time we experienced working with a travel advisor, what did they say? They said it was like working with a drywall,
Oh, not fun.
not fun. And they were like, "We're so glad that they were referred to me by what was it? They were looking to do one destination. I'm not going to mention it because they're not going anymore.
Hmm.
And they saw I was one of the agents at one of the resorts that we're looking at, and I was the only one in the state on that website.
Okay.
So that's why they called me. Um, but they were blown away at the experience and me asking questions and things that say, "Oh, we didn't even think about that." Wow, and hopefully this will close by in a week. But it's just an example of um, really having a passion for this industry, really
Mm-hmm.
know what to ask for, and looking out for details, and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what the regular consumer is not thinking.
Right. Right. When you say your workflow, do you mean the process of like when somebody comes to you, they investigate you, you send them some preliminary information,
Yeah,
and is it that? Okay.
this is that. I have to say again, this is a learning process.
Right.
I only started using a CRM 5 years ago,
Same. Yeah.
right? And before that, I thought my process was good, faxing, registration forms, credit card
Can.
forms,
Yeah.
emailing them, waiting for them to get back and all this, and then sending proposals that were like cut and paste because you didn't want the supplier's information on it. And but my workflow with my CRM, I virtually got away with paperwork. Everything is digital.
Hmm.
I can, and the important parts like axing if the client wants insurance or not,
Hmm.
very important, especially after the last few years. So I have us when they decide to go, I send them a proposal. They say we want to go with number two. Then my system sends out a one email to do personal verification. So check on the
Hmm.
spelling of your name, your birthday, your address, ask if you want insurance or not, and then provide payment information and authorize for payment all
Hmm.
in one shot. So if you don't realize how much these things protect you. Again, this is why I say travel agents, travel advisors know they're selling travel, but sometimes they forget they're running a business.
Right.
Is your terms and conditions in place? Um, is your accounting where you want it to be? Um, how are you doing with marketing? When I took over ASTA's SPN New York City chapter,
Hmm.
yes, we brought in the supplier reps, but I think I was one of the first chapters to bring in a small business lawyer to have a discussion of your legal responsibilities and rights,
Right.
and accounting to talk about your financials. Um, not small business, I'm sorry, a social media
Hmm.
marketing consultant. And just before COVID closed everything down, I was about to have an image consultant come in and talk about that, just to touch different aspects of your business.
Right.
I see you.
Yep. I was like, oh, I froze.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really think I always bring this home. What are you doing in the back and on your business level, on your
Hmm.
business side to take care of your sales that will bring more sales to you?
Right. And that's, I don't think like even when I was gung ho hard in the travel industry, it wasn't until I think 2018 and I had started the travel business in 2010 that I realized the holistic approach of being a business owner and being an entrepreneur.
Right.
I think like it's now more at the forefront because there's so many more resources that are available, but still we're there's a bit of a clash between like the old way of doing things and like
Hmm.
the moving forward way of doing things. And I think we're just trying to find a happy medium where we can all move forward
Yeah,
together,
for
but we
sure.
can't forget like those essential elements that this is not, you may have gotten into the industry to have fun and to travel the world, but that's not all that having a business is having fun and traveling the world.
Correct. And just across the board,
Hmm.
when you're running your own business, to be successful, you have to work like a CEO, not like an intern.
Amen. Yep.
So that goes across the board. So there are sometimes I'm working till like 10, 11 o'clock at night. When I first got in the industry, I was one of those guys who was like, oh, I'll wake up when I want, I'll do what I want. No, I found that's not the case real quick.
Mm,
So you have to put in the work to be successful. The only thing that's gratifying is that it's yours. Like
right.
you're not earning a salary. You're not helping someone else with their dreams,
Right.
you know.
Right. And that you do have the freedom and flexibility to be able to like work on your schedule if you have something in your life that's happening or you need to move things around. And then also knowing that, yes, like summertime might be a hustle season, but fall time might be like, we're going to take it back
Right,
and relax, and having
right.
those different motions in the industry as well.
You also have to look at your highs and lows because this is a very well before COVID because now it feels like everything's more is high for the whole year. But you have to look at your highs and lows and how you going to tighten up that level. What are you doing when you're in high season that you're not doing in low season that maybe bring up your sales during low season?
Love that thinking. So before we got on, I teased you a little bit with the final question. So if there was anything that you could do differently to put you in a better position in your business today, what would that be?
Real talk. I didn't know how much fun and how much I caught the travel bug when I did, but I would have done this, started this a lot sooner.
Would you? I mean, your group
Yeah,
trip grew significantly fast.
yeah. I would really, if I had known what was involved on the travel advisor side,
Hmm.
I probably would have started this while I was a stockbroker. So that way, when it came where I got laid off, I was already a little bit
Doing
more
it.
established. Yeah. I
Okay.
love this industry. I love um, what I do. I
Hmm.
tell people all the time, I'd rather lose business to you than to the Travelocities and
Right.
Orbits of the world. Because if your client has a great experience with you, two things are going to happen. One, that client's going to refer more business to you,
Right.
or that client's friends, family says, wow, I need to find my own travel agent. And from, looking long term, that's great for everyone.
Right. So what held you back from starting?
I didn't know. I did not know. You don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
I was happy where I was. I was happy with what I was doing and just found a passion I can do on the side.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, there's a whole business of it at the time. If I had known that, I would have, because I'm an entrepreneur spirit by heart. I
Hmm.
started businesses while I was working full time with, within wherever I was. So
Hmm.
if I had known about this industry, I probably would have got in a lot sooner.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I love that. And I'm like, oh, so how can we bring out the word? And I think the industry's getting better about putting out the word about being a
It
travel
is,
business owner and
yeah.
not just a travel agent or a
I
travel
think I
advisor.
think even that um I do believe the message has to change a lot more because
Hmm.
the message that's going out there is, hey, you can earn a living while you're doing your traveling, or you can make some money while it's
Right.
not that easy. And I
Right.
think the message has to change.
Right. And I that's something, one of the things that I have an idea for at the forefront, but also knowing that there's different routes to being in the travel business. It doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to be a travel advisor, or it can be a travel advisor, and you can add different things to monetize either your intellectual property or your travel experience, having been sailed to a lot of different places
Hmm.
around the
Hmm.
world.
Right, right, right. True indeed.
Yeah.
True indeed.
Yep.
I
And that's
also
when you're
think
thinking like a CEO.
you really need to, like with any business, sometimes the idea, like you're an idea guy, or you want to like reach out to people, but you're not really the back end type person.
Right.
So if you have an idea, you really need to go talk to an accountant. You need to go talk to a business lawyer to see what's the best for you and how to structure that business.
Right.
So long term, it worked for you. I made that mistake when I first started, and I just, let me just open a business and open my agency and let it, see what happens. Whereas if I had maybe talked to an accountant and say, okay, how do I properly structure this
Mm-hmm.
so it works for me long term? Um, and then the other thing is, um, what's your exit strategy?
Yes.
People don't talk about that. I found that out last year. I've asked a few travel advisors, hey, do you have an exit strategy in place? And either it was, I don't know what that is, or I don't have one in place. And no, I don't have one in place. Um, so I actually did a webinar on that a few months ago, and I brought in a small business lawyer who also owns a travel agency to talk about that. And we had on an ASTA level, national level, and we
Mm-hmm.
had 800 RSVPs and somewhere around 400 in attendance.
That's
Uh, just to show that these things people are hungry for. They're hungry for that information
right.
because they don't know what they don't know or don't think about.
Right.
Are you going to doing this till 95? Do you have a plan to either sell your book of business or hand over to your children or some other family member? Like, what's your plan?
Right.
And you have to do that sooner than later because you never know. No one's promised tomorrow. To
Correct.
make sure stuff is in place. But that's on a business side of thinking, and that's why I try to bring to the forefront. I love my travel advisors, like I said, but I think the best way to help them is to help them build the business side of.
Mm-hmm. Wholeheartedly agree. So where can people connect with you if they wanted to either reach out, get some mentorship, or just be in your world?
Oh man, so my website is massivetravels.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's also my Instagram and my Facebook is at massivetravels.com. My Twitter at massivetravels.com. My business line is 800 721 7197, which you can call and text. Um,
Ooh.
well, um, and my email address is ejean at massivetravels.com. I am I try to be an open book to whoever really wants to know about this business and thrive in this business. And so I share my experiences and my knowledge and my quote unquote expertise.
Yeah.
Um, and so people who know me, they know they can if they have a question, I'm going to give them an answer or know where to get the answer.
Love that. Love that. I was just talking, I think it was with Dr. Tarika Haynes about the difference between a leader and an employee. And the difference is that the leader will figure out how to answer your question.
There you go. There you go. She's good
Yes.
people too.
Yes. Yes, she is. Thank you so much, Edward, for being here and sharing some of your wisdom today. I so appreciate it and had a lot of fun, like going into all the nooks and the crannies that we did.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. Um, I've been watching for a while. I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. And listeners, you've got a couple more episodes to listen to. So thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this one. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.